Rand.
Welcome back to Give Me Rent, everybody. This is Dylan. I'm joined by Noah.
What's up, everyone?
This episode, we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite franchises that is getting a new installment this week. We're talking about the Predator franchise. This is our current state on Predator.
Well, it's kind of great. I mean, I'm not going to say it's kind of great. I think it's very interesting that we got two things within the Predator universe this year.
Yeah, in 1 year.
This is our second Predator movie. This is our only one that's coming out in theaters, but the other one, Killer of Killers, released on Hulu like 4 months ago.
Yeah, that was an animated project.
Earlier
Both
this
of these
year.
projects are directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who, if you may not know, he kind of took over the franchise of Prey.
Yeah, the current state really is
years ago.
Trachtenberg.
Yeah.
But let's delve back. Let's go back to
the beginning.
The beginning of the franchise. We'll get to where we're currently at. So yeah, I mean, let's start by talking about 1987's Predator.
The original, the OG, one of my favorite movies to this day. I think often people, maybe they don't forget this, but this really is one of my favorite movies that has kind of a genre shift in it, if you know what I mean. Like, it starts out as a pure action film.
Definitely one of the most macho movies ever made.
And it's pure macho men, whatever, guns, muscles, whatever. And then, obviously, you have the pure hints of it that there's something else afoot watching these soldiers, but then it just becomes a horror-esque alien movie for the last, the latter half of the film.
Yeah.
And that amalgamation is just so fun, and I don't think they've ever really struck that.
Well, it's very
balance
very interesting about you pointing that out. Where yes, the movie does start with this this band of commandos going out onto a mission in the jungle, and you soon realize they're being watched, and that's where the horror does come from. The idea that something is hunting you in the jungle and pitting them off one by one.
Yeah. And it's like you have
picking them off.
Schwarzenegger, the most macho action star of all time, going up against something that he can't even fight.
Well, this is a very interesting
it's such
thing.
a good concept.
I don't know whose suggestion it was, but I believe when they first wrote the movie, it really was a one-on-one type of story. Mm-hmm. And it didn't involve that group of commandos. Yeah. So whoever it was, who decided that, that should be the beginning of the film, following a group of people.
It's such a smart move because not only do you get to know the characters and it adds stakes to the film, but it just shows you
But it adds that sense of dread.
But it also
adds the horror element.
How just otherworldly and just impossible to fight the Predator, especially in that first movie, really is, because they have no clue what they're up against, and these are like pure macho men. So you got Jesse Ventura on the thing, Carl Weathers, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, it's
Bill
funny.
Duke, just a bunch of badasses. Can't do anything.
Again, one of the most
them.
macho 80 movies ever. And maybe just not 80, just movies ever.
Yeah.
But it's funny when you're pointing out how in the first movie you're realizing a lot of what the Predator's capabilities are and his weaknesses are. So it's interesting when you delve into other movies as you go further in this franchise. One thing that becomes redundant is you have to always go through that.
Yeah.
Watching humans, figure it out. So I will say, where we're currently getting at in the franchise, we're kind of finally getting away from that, which is going to be interesting.
Necessary.
I'm not going to delve into what we're currently going to get this week, but we're going to get there. So I just wanted to. I feel like that's interesting to point out where it looks like what makes this first movie so great is kind of being flipped now in the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it's evolving because I do think it's a franchise that needs to evolve.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely found that out with the release of The Predator, which we'll get to as
before we get that further, because The Predator is a little bit more recent, I think this franchise always tried to evolve a little bit.
Yeah.
Where, each movie you did go through those beats of, humans figuring out the Predator's strengths and weaknesses. But I will say, every single film is very distinct.
100%. Yeah.
Because let's jump to Predator 2.
If we jump to Predator 2, I do think Predator 2 still falls into that trap of, like, we got to hit every beat that first movie hit, especially when it comes to, like, what the Predator does and all his vibe. But I will say, 2 expands the lore very well and truly, I think, kind of cemented what these creatures are about and how they operate.
The clan,
is what
the Yautja clan stuff was really brought in.
Like, think about it. In
Predator
2, you find out he doesn't kill children. He doesn't kill unarmed anyone that's unarmed, although that is kind of really, kind of figured out in number 1. But it's a little unclear in 1 because sometimes he just kills.
It's very interesting where this is a franchise that has tried to lay out, this species. The Yautja is what the Predator species is called, and I think every single movie you get a little bit more hint into how they operate.
Yeah.
And as a unit, as opposed to just sending one of them on a hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of 2, you do get this sense that this is a lot bigger than we kind of perceive with the first movie. It's a lot different, and I think that a lot of the details you get with their culture has been very interesting.
Yeah. As a movie, though, Danny Glover taking over for Schwarzenegger. How do you feel about that? Just like when
Predator 2. Before I even did, Glover is not terrible in Predator 2.
Yeah,
but he's not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, originally their plans were to bring Dutch back in some fashion with that film, but Schwarzenegger believed the role was too small for him, which, at that time he was at his height, so I kind of get it. But it would have been nice to see Dutch.
You just get a
Dutch
little
is the
reference
character
to
that
the
every
events,
Predator fan wants to see back. Like, he is definitely the main character that we want to see again, and because there's so much left open, especially at that end of that first movie.
Well, it's a very interesting franchise where, yes, every movie propels, learning about the culture and the lore more, but it's never been connected like that.
Yeah.
Every single movie in this franchise, up until really now, we'll get into how it's really going to be connected, but it's never really been concerned with that. In 2, you get a reference to the events of 1, but then it moves on. And it's also really weird to note that 2 decided to take place in the then future. I believe
it's very odd. It takes place.
It took place 5 years into
in
the
a
future
dystopian 90s in LA, and it's there's a gang war going on. It's a very interesting. I mean, I love seeing the Predator in a suburban setting, or an urban setting. I think that's really cool. But the actual plot of that film is bonkers. It is bizarre. It's so weird. I mean, I think one of the saving graces of its bonkersness is Gary Busey clearly knowing how bonkers the movie is and lending into that and having a good time. So at least you get that. And he has one of the I think his death. He has that death that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Spoilers, I guess, for Predator 2, but remember that
We're
one
going to be diving into
it's in
spoilers for a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, remember the one in the meat factory where he throws the disc at him and you just see the bottom half of his body fall, but the top of his body still...
Makes no sense.
It makes zero sense.
Makes no sense.
Whatsoever.
That being said, though, there are some really cool kills in the film.
I'm actually going to say that whole sequence where
cool.
they understand the heat vision that the Predator has, and you just see in his mask he has different modes. And then he,
that's what I'm saying.
It's pretty cool. That stuff's pretty cool.
I think, too, it's still, you get all the stuff that is super familiar, but it really did expand, how the Predators...
Yeah.
It's kind of... I'm not going to say it expanded, how they operate, but it definitely kind of changed your perception. And I think every single film kind of does that.
I mean, right off the bat, at the end of Predator, the Predator is a sore loser. He tries to kill Dutch. And it's kind of the exact opposite in 2, where these Predators actually really respect a human for killing one of them. It's damn, okay, here, take this gun.
I think we should save this for later, too, pointing that out. It's very interesting, where we're now at a point in the franchise where we're seeing there are very different clans.
Yeah, 100%.
Within this species.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually great to jump to the next film in this, because it's the first film that really show that, Predators.
Yeah. Well, are we going to completely skip AVP?
Okay, actually, so before we jump to Predators...
Little side tangent,
Let's do a little side tangent with AVP. Because, you explain what AVP is.
So, Alien vs. Predator, a lot of people know one of the most famous Easter eggs in any movie is you see a xenomorph skull in the Predator ship in Predator 2. So right when that happened, everyone started theorizing, oh my god, are they in the same world? Whatever.
Yeah.
A few years later, comics,
even though it made
Dark
no
Horse
sense.
comics began coming out. Alien versus Predator. This was a real thing. They really were pitted up against each other, and I think it's everyone understood how great of a concept that was. It's such a good crossover.
Well, and then,
it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It does. But it also doesn't. It also doesn't.
It also doesn't in a way because of the
timeline
timeline of the movie. So, jump to Alien versus Predator, where they kind of make this non-canon, really weird kind of way to connect the two of them, which makes no sense for either lore whatsoever.
It kind of just feels like a fan fiction.
I would say
movie.
Alien vs. Predator is one of the biggest, one of the highest budgeted fan films ever to come out, because it isn't in the main line of either of those franchises, yet it's a movie, and it's a very high budget movie at that.
And yet, I think even by the end of the second one, AVP Requiem, which is an appalling movie,
it's unwatchable. Alien vs. Predator Requiem is so bad for a number of reasons, but you can't even see the movie when you're watching. It's so dark.
It's got... Okay, listen. The points I'll give that movie,
the
though...
lighting is so bad.
You can't see it. But the creature design in the film and some of the kills are really cool. if you could see them.
Yeah, if you could see them. Yeah, exactly.
You know, obviously the Pred Alien is in it, a mix between the aliens and the Predators. It's cool conceptually, but the movie.
I'm gonna say right now, I appreciate you trying to give them some credit, but oh my fucking god, do not watch that movie. Do not watch Alien.
Some not watch that Alien like it. I mean, listen. I think the one thing I wanted to point out with AVP, and it comes from Requiem, is that it gave us one of, in my opinion, the coolest Predators.
Yeah, I mean, being honest, both Alien vs Predator movies have really cool Predators. Like the main Predator in AVP, Scar is pretty dope, and then for the second one, Wolf. I mean, yeah, AVP Requiem was a really bad movie, but the whole concept around the Wolf Predator is really cool.
It was also the first movie to give us a look at the Predator's homeworld.
Yeah, it does. It
very briefly, but you do see it. It's like one of the only shots of the movie you can see.
Yeah.
And it's very brief. But yeah, I like the concept of Wolf. He was inspired by, I think, Harvey Keitel's character from Pulp Fiction, right?
Yeah, he's essentially the cleanup crew for the Predators. You know, something goes
and that's
wrong.
An interesting, that does expand the lore a little bit too, because it's more than just a person on a hunt. It's a different kind of predator, which some people might not like. I kind of did like where they went with Wolf, and it's
conceptually very cool. It's just that movie is executed so poorly that it's like I don't even really talk about it.
Yeah, and what I was about to say was I think it's weird where the last Alien v Predator movie kind of left us off, where it's like it did try to connect the lore in a little ways, and yeah, I mean. Ends with, spoiler alert, a town getting nuked and everyone you just watched gets killed, including the Predators. Like, the whole movie weird. Genuinely does not matter. And then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, like, were they trying to set up a third movie? I don't really even know. But they were trying to do some bold things with the lore there where...
We've talked about this multiple times on the channel. If Alien vs. Predator were to ever come back, I think they should actually make it work for the canon of the two franchises and not be some weird... tangent where it's just doing its own thing. It's very bizarre, the entire story they cooked up for these movies.
Well, what it looks like they're doing now, which could be interesting, is that I think they're establishing first and foremost before seeing them together is that yes, like they do inhabit the same world even though they're very different timelines. That's good because AVP did a really random thing with trying to make it work, where it looks like now we'll just subtly put Easter eggs in that says yes, they do exist, and then eventually they can maybe cook up a good story where we can find a good point in both timelines where, yes, they could have met.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's weird because
Aliens and Predators.
Obviously, we know Alien takes place in the future. It's like, why couldn't Predators just be in the future? I feel like that was a no.
Well, I don't want to talk about it till the end
we'll
of this,
get there.
But the newest Predator movie does take place in the future.
Yes, and it looks like yes. Okay, but anyways, let's get back to Predators.
So jumping back onto the main line, the third actual Predator movie came out in I believe 2010, and it was called Predators.
Yes,
which I actually have a really big soft spot for this one. I think it's better than 2.
A lot of people, and I've actually seen a resurgence of people talking about this because, new Predator movie coming out. They mismarketed the hell out of this one. Yeah. There was especially one moment in the original
where
trailer
you see maybe 100
it implied that at least 20 Predators were going to be in this movie.
Like 15 to 20.
It is not nearly that much. It's maybe, 4 or 5?
It's, I think... Yeah, that's like
which is cool. I mean, it still delivers on there being multiple Predators in the movie. And let's be real, it's hard to have a lot of Predators on screen. This is a practical character. Yeah. At least for most of the movies, he's been a practical character, and it cost a lot of money to show one of these guys.
I love the look of them in this movie. Like,
oh, yeah.
The helmet specifically.
Oh, there's some great designs. I think the Berserker has one.
But even the Berserker's actual face is really good design.
Yeah, this was the first instance where we're really getting a sense where it's like there could be different kinds of these creatures. There's different iterations.
Different looks to the
different looks, kind of different subspecies.
But interesting enough, this movie introduced a kind of interesting concept that, well, I like the concept. I'm not sure if everyone does, but this band of predators that have been outcasted.
They're kind of rebels, yeah.
That don't follow the code. That, they don't kind of give a crap about the hunt in a way. I mean, they hunt, but it's not about honor in any way.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really cool change, and I really do think the predators in this movie are pretty intimidating.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's also great fight sequences with them, especially opposed to 2, because I like the hunt in 2, but it's kind of just, even how it's filmed is just kind of wacky.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think the 2 is that good of a film, and I think 3, it's not as well. But
all of them have great iconic bits. Even Alien vs Predator.
The sword fight in this one.
The sword fight in Predators is really cool, and I think the entire classic Predator versus the Berserker Predator is such a dope scene as well. Just Predator on Predator fight is just pretty dope. Also, I mean, I think it does a lot well in kind of
some of the references to the first film, are
fleshing out
it
fleshes out the lore pretty well. Though
yeah,
I agree.
The
like
that doesn't
it
try to
tries.
harken back to the first movie. Besides that, the original Predator being it, or the Jungle Hunter being in it. I think when it tries to really do its own thing here, it does work pretty well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The movie,
What do you think about Adrian Brody as the?
Yeah,
as the star?
I was gonna say the movie. It has an interesting lead in Brody, who I really like. Typically in this, wouldn't say he's that good.
He's not given much.
Yeah,
it is the thing. I don't think it's really his fault. I just think his character.
But it's also tough when even more as opposed to Danny Glover, they definitely tried to make him more Dutch-like.
Yeah,
100%. And it's Adrian Brody compared to Arnold Schwarzenegger, so it's just no, that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And especially when you give him some of the lines and some of the references, I'm just this really does stick out negatively. So those are the parts of the Predators movie that I really don't like. But I will say, I think I am more fond on it than most because I do think, it gives us some badass predators. Really cool concept with the planet that they're on because it's not the Yautja planet. It's just a random, hunting grounds. That's another thing that's interesting. It's I guess I would have to rewatch this movie because I don't remember how this band of predators are
Are you also just do you remember how many just stars are kind of just in it casually too?
Yeah, but I'm just
Walton Goggins is in this movie.
Yeah, there's so much talent in the
Lawrence
movie.
Fishburne, Topher Grace. There's people in this film.
The movie has insane talent. Yeah. I'm just saying there's a reason it's not as memorable.
Yeah, I mean. It still falls into that trap of a lot of the Predators movies do, where it's we have to hit those same beats again, where it's this and that. I really think this franchise needs to find a new lens, and I think that's what we're doing. I think that's what they're gonna do.
Well, I think it's funny though, where it's Predators wasn't really received well when it came out, but I think with what happened after it, especially the film that we got the follow up Predators, it's definitely remember more fondly now. Yes. Because the next film in the franchise to come out almost killed the whole thing.
It almost did. Before we get there, I do want to talk about, because not everyone knows about this, but there was a somewhat alternate ending to Predators that I've always found very interesting.
So wait, before I believe I know what you're going to talk about, but remind me, was this a film deleted scene, or this is something
this was something that was written, was never filmed?
Yeah.
This was something that they were working on, and it doesn't really make sense, so I think that's why they ditched it. But the ending of the movie, at least to my knowledge, originally, they defeat the Predator. They're still on the planet. A huge Predator mothership lands on the planet. A pretty badass Predator walks out in mask, takes off the mask, and it's Dutch from the original film.
Yeah.
Saying, good job, whatever. Kind of like he's been assimilated into the Predator culture.
Well, as weird as that is, I'm not, spoiler again, but Dutch has been referenced in the newer films, and I kind of like what you're saying as opposed to what we've been we've been given.
I mean, that just, when I heard that was a possible ending for Predators, I mean, that's just such an interesting concept. Where they would take that, I have no clue.
Also, they might just have taken it nowhere.
They might have taken it nowhere.
These movies don't connect.
That might have been the definitive ending, whatever.
Yeah, it still would be cool.
That sounds so badass to me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's more interesting than it would make sense, I think. But it's still interesting to note that was an actual possible ending for that film.
No.
Because we've always wanted.
Right, so
fans want Dutch back. I think
actually, before jumping into the next film, I think I was trying to say this earlier, but these movies, they do expand the lore and all that, but they do kind of get a little convoluted with it as well, where it's Predators does so end with another set of survivors coming down, and they've beaten these the bad clan or the bad, the outcast, as you want to call them.
Yeah.
It's not fully explained if there's more of them, how, really the individual clans within the Predators were.
None of these Predator movies have been direct sequels, ever. We've never
But
gotten
even
a
with that,
the
outline lore still isn't fully concrete because a lot of the things contradict each other.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
We're gonna get to this more after in a few movies.
Speaking of convoluted, I guess we could just jump to the Predator because it doesn't get more convoluted than that.
I think this would be maybe the only film that is 100% not canon. That was supposed to be.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assumption, especially now where we're at in the franchise. But let's talk about the history of the Predator, why this movie even came to be in the first place. This movie's directed by Shane Black,
who's mostly known, I guess, I'd say, for...
Solid director. I mean, he's directed some good... I like Iron Man 3.
Shane Black. I mean, he's not known for Iron Man 3, though. Is he more known for The Nice Guys, I'd say?
Yeah, no, not a bad director at all. He's got The Nice Guys, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang,
of course,
Iron Man
Kiss
3.
Kiss Bang
Solid films. Solid films for sure. The Predator, however, he was also in the original Predator movie. He plays one of the soldiers.
I gotta point that out. He's in the original film.
He plays one of the original soldiers in Predator. And he kind of wanted to have that aspect really return. The camaraderie.
Well, let's get back to that, because, this is interesting. The concept of, that commando group being in Predator wasn't even in it originally.
Yeah.
But, yes, it does make the film, what it is. Honestly, people do remember that aspect of it. Yeah. So, Shane Black wanted to go back to that a little bit. He wanted a new group of people that could bounce off each other, comedically, to set up the eventual, all these people are going to get picked off. And
the only thing is about that is the comedy in the movie is written so terribly. It's so uninspired. Yeah. Even Keegan-Michael Key is just terrible in it. Like, he's just not good in it whatsoever, and it's a damn shame. Because there's good actors, just solid actors in this film.
I think even besides that, we just have to point out, the comedy doesn't work at all. But the movie it's not a well-made movie.
Oh, yeah.
It jumps around so sporadically, and it doesn't even feel connected.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a Frankenstein's monster.
It is the worst lore building for the Predators ever, too. One, it kind of tries to explain the whole reason that they spine rip. That was just a thing they did to collect trophies. What are we talking about? Why are you giving it an explanation?
Well, here's the weird thing with it, too, where it's like, I don't really understand, like, some of the things that they thought, like, needed to be referenced. Like, that's not really what people love about Predator.
Yeah.
Especially, with the spine rips and a couple... I mean, one of the main things is that this movie is about building the ultimate version of a Yautja, which
they have never...
It goes against everything that
the whole
really
point
like
is just being the best hunter that, just trying to top everyone else. Not, we're going to create the best hunter.
Like, the cheat code was already, like, the weapons they kind of have, which are just far more advanced than, like, the people they go up against.
Like, you guys are already insanely advanced.
You need... Like, I don't even remember, because it's been so long since I've watched this movie. I'm not watching it ever again. But I don't remember really what the whole goal with that was.
The whole goal was to make the ultimate Predator.
But for what reason?
But why? Yeah, why?
It goes against, again,
they've never been a malicious species in the sense that they're trying to conquer a planet or something like that. That's not their vibe. They're hunters and they're trophy hunters. Plain and simple. So Shane Black demonstrated that, and it's ironic because he was like, I understand this franchise more than anyone. I've been in it. He demonstrated that he literally did not understand it whatsoever.
I mean, there's also, like, a few aspects of this film that, just besides even the Predator stuff, like, just some of the things in the story are genuinely offensive.
It has probably the worst instance of Hollywood autism I've ever seen in a film ever.
It is jarring that it happened.
So Jacob Tremblay plays a kid who's on the spectrum in the film, and he can understand the Yautja language and use their technology. What?
There's also a sequence besides that too.
What? It makes no sense. It is baffling when you watch the film, the choices that went into it.
Yeah, no, that's actually just not good. It's very offensive. And I think, watching it too, first rip, I was just like, I can't believe this is what they did.
Yeah.
But then also there's bits in this movie where there's a whole sequence in this movie where he goes trick-or-treating in a Predator mask.
Yeah.
He ends up, which also doesn't make sense because the mask has, like, weapons in it and all that, but he ends up just killing people, like, by accident and stuff like that.
Wild.
Like, and is that played for laughs? I don't even really remember what they were going for.
Honestly. And also another thing that I just have to note is just the overabundance of CGI in this movie. It's gross to look at. This franchise has been known for its practical effects, and there's one practical Predator in it, and then he gets killed off pretty soon, and then it's a CGI Predator for the rest of the movie. Crap. And it's an eyesore. I hate looking at it. A lot of the kills are pure CGI.
I mean, one of the cool things about the Predator is that, like, you actually, like, feel its presence there. Like, it's not like a just CGI monster.
And it feels like he feels like a cartoon. And this one, the ultimate Predator,
even
whatever you
the
want to call
kills, like, are just like they're very gory and over the top, but they're not even fun. Like, they're
the type of kills in this movie is the type of kill that we eventually get in Killer or Killers. It works in Killer or Killers because it's an animated project. It's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be like that. But in this movie with the CGI, it does not work.
Nah, but, like, I'd even give points to Killer of Killers, which, we'll get to. It's a couple movies down the line, but those kills are fun. Like this, these are just fast and stupid.
But
gory.
Trachtenberg and the writers of Killers explicitly said, yeah, we went over the top with the violence because it's the medium, and that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
But think about the Predator; they go over the top like crazy with the gore, and it doesn't work whatsoever because it looks really cartoonish.
Yeah, it's even just besides the Predator, we've mentioned it, but yeah, the characters are just terrible.
I will shout out though Sterling K. Brown with maybe the funniest kill in the entire Predator franchise.
I mean, it literally doesn't. It just happens.
It's so out of nowhere, and it's so like, did he just die? Like you have to do a double take because it's
honestly, if you haven't seen the Predator, just look that up. Sterling K. Brown, the Predator death.
It's absolutely insane.
It comes out of nowhere.
What we're kind of getting at is, the Predator made it more clear that this
we thought it killed the franchise. We thought it was done.
It was nearly killed the franchise. So I have to just thank Dan Trachtenberg for even pitching Prey.
Well, I think, before we delve into Prey, which is Trachtenberg's first film, and also the first actually Disney-released Predator film, which I believe they started developing it before Disney acquired
before
Fox.
the merger, but yes.
But I think they started developing it pretty soon after the Predator, which is shocking to me because I thought 100%. Fox would have been like, yeah, this is done, like shelve Predator. It's like Predator 2 but good, and in the sense that it changes the setting.
Is so cool. Like I really think that was such a, and Naru is probably the best
it's more
protagonist
logical to
since
go
Dutch.
back to actual history than it is to jump to an alternate future in Los Angeles where, like, yes, it's cool seeing Predator in a city, but the movie is just so bizarre. This is an actual good streamlined Predator story. Yeah. That I will say, for people who are really deep into the lore, it does do some changes, especially with the gun. If you know what if you know what I'm talking about with the gun, if you've seen the film, obviously this gun is one of the only things that appears in multiple Predator movies. Yeah. It has now appeared in 3. It's
kind of the thing that bridges them the most.
Yeah,
at this
point. One weapon where I will say, Prey and Killers do make the history of that a little convoluted, but we still could see that play out. But back to just Prey at hand, I will say it's a very good, just kind of direct story that takes place, in the 1700s, uses the history very well, and we get a new badass Predator with it. Yeah. Design-wise,
new look,
weapons-wise.
New kind of species, too. He definitely looks a little different. He's called the feral Predator, and I think rightly so, because, he's feral. He's a beast. He is an absolute, he's just taking down every animal, too. I love that it kind of shows that he's trying to learn a little bit too. He kind of goes up the food chain in the movie. Like it's really interesting too. And I would say that Prey, I hope it gets topped eventually, but it probably has my favorite action scene in any Predator movie.
Know what's interesting that makes you think too, where it's like when Prey came out, I thought it was the Predator's first time on Earth. Yeah. And since then we got another release that it clearly is not. Yeah. But it does make you think that maybe it could be that a specific clan's first time on Earth. A lot of these movies start making me think of like the individual groups within. We'll delve with it with Killer of Killers, but now that we're really heading into more like the actual like familial lore of Yautja, it's very. I just think that's a very interesting direction to take the franchise, because when you're looking at Prey specifically, right, you get Trachtenberg doing a more traditional Predator story, and then he kind of has with Killer of Killers next jumps you into a more sprawling, spread out kind of epic 3 different epic tales, which do come together. And I'm not going to talk about that yet, because when we get to Killer of Killers, we will, because it kind of does encapsulate my current thoughts heading into Predator Badlands this week. I'm definitely concerned while also being excited, and we'll get there. But back to Prey.
Well, yeah, I think with Prey, when Prey ended, your concern already started because you see the Predator ships returning to,
and that was never a concept that we've ever seen. I always assumed that the main characters, the people who are victorious against the Predators, gained the respect of the Yautja, and they were left alone. And we now know that that's not the case.
I would not say they don't gain the respect. I think they do gain their respect, for sure. Yeah. If anything.
And I think that needs to be delved in a little bit. But before we get there, because we're going to get there when we get to the next film, I do have to ask you, I personally think that this movie, Prey, had the best protagonist, facing the Predator since Dutch.
Yeah, I was saying that before too. I definitely agree.
It was I think the name change of the movie, ready, Prey from Predator, genius move. Yeah. But also just watching this, she's like a reverse Dutch, where yes, she's a female character, but she's not this big, giant man fighting a Predator. Yeah. It's a person who really has to use her wit to outsmart this killer. And I actually will say, I think that's what gives Prey its main like. This really does stand out because it is a story that's very.
It's got a great protagonist. That's besides
the setting, that's what makes it stand out. Naru, where she is. I will say maybe even more so than Dutch because it's not as delved into as much. I think her story is probably the most interesting human one we've gotten in the Predatorverse. You could say Killer of Killers has some interesting ones too, but they're short. You get to really delve into Naru and her family, and I will say by the time you get to the ending, it's very satisfying.
100%.
It's a good journey for her, and I think kind of delving it, I guess putting it in that history, her and her tribe and how it ends. You're right. It made me think where it is weird, like to imagine her getting approached by the predator, like that tribe getting approached by the predators. It's something the credits make you imagine, and I think even more so. Let's get to the next film, Killer of Killers. We had an animated movie that followed Prey, and this movie it took place.
I do want to know that this was kind of made in secret. Which is kind of wild. We had heard that there were 2 Predator projects coming out, but no one knew it was like an animated project that Trachtenberg himself had directed.
Yeah, but this film, Killer of Killers, which came out a few months ago,
it's insane.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. It took his concept of Prey even further.
Yeah,
where it was let's put a Predator versus blank, Predator versus a Viking, Predator versus a samurai, Predator versus a World War II pilot. Yeah, 3 separate stories within very different timelines. And then, even after the first story, which is, I'm delving into huge spoilers here again, you get the reveal that the Predators have taken the victors of each of these battles. Mm-hmm. And they're actually alive at the same time. So we know they have technology to keep people alive hundreds of years, which is, space travel, all that, that's fine. But that was weird. First off, that's revealed maybe in the right after the first story of the movie. So that right when I'm watching this film for the first time, it took me back, and I want to know, I think you're even a bigger Predator fan than me. What did you think after it was revealed that yes, the Predators now can take the people that beat them, and it's revealed by the end of this movie. They bring them to their home world and have them fight in like gladiator style things, which I thought was just too much of a jump personally. Which I think you had some different thoughts, so I would like to hear.
Well, when I was watching it, it's just clear to me that it's Trachtenberg's take on lore that has never really been fully fleshed out.
Yeah.
So his take is that, if they're hunters, they want to fight the ultimate prey, right? And what's more an ultimate prey than someone who's taken out one of them?
Yeah.
So it's like they'll keep capturing them, bring them here, and have them fight more predators. Yeah, it's a little bit like, like they already beat a predator. That's kind of like, why would they need to go back and fight another predator? But it's like this is the predator culture, I guess.
I think
in the eyes of Dan Trachtenberg, this is the predator culture.
I think there's a lot of Predator fans, just for the context, there's a lot that hated this decision.
I think it's very split.
And there's a lot of people that did think it was interesting. And I think for a lot of people that are really hardcore fans, this decision kind of killed what Trachtenberg was doing with the franchise. And it's going to be interesting to see how, Badlands performs this weekend.
Yeah.
Because, I will say, I think more so than most, it will at least possibly reference a lot of the events of Killer of Killers.
Yeah.
Or some of the, at least the tribes that we've seen in it. So, I think it's interesting going into this where that's what I'm thinking. Where I think he wanted to get Killer of Killers out first to kind of establish this, this culture a little bit better. His version of the Ouija culture.
Exactly.
And then now we're jumping into a film that it delves into it even further because we see a family within the Ouija clan.
Yeah.
A father and his son. Which, I'm not going to jump into Badlands yet, but I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I think Trachtenberg is now he's taking the necessary step because it's like we've seen all these human stories. I think if anything, Killers proves, it's like you can't do this over and over again. Yeah. There has to be.
That's why I have to give it points at the end of the day.
You need to evolve this franchise, and I think the necessary step is putting the Yautja, putting the Predator as the protagonist of the film.
So
having them be the main character.
So you're right. So I think I did accept it. Once that sequence wrapped up, I was like, okay, I can accept what they're doing here, but that the movie takes it even further.
Yeah.
And they've even changed it at this point. They have changed the end of this film to include even more characters. Yeah. But originally the film ended, and you see that they have Naru from Prey. Yeah. They have her in like a cryogenic stasis type thing, which is also kind of a weird thing for the Yautja to have. I feel like just if that's going to be in live action, I feel like you gotta find a good way to represent that or present that. I think it's very interesting that knowing that her future is going to be far beyond her years, like in the 1700s. It would actually take place in space in the future. And then even further than that, you see they have now included Dutch and Predator 2. The protagonist of Predator 2, Danny Glover, is there, and Arnold has actually discussed with Trachtenberg how they could continue this. So we're at a point where Arnold...
And don't be forgetting about my boy Mike Harrigan, all right?
Sorry.
That's
so Danny Glover's Mike. So yeah,
Detective
Dutch,
Mike
and Naru, the protagonists. We don't see anyone from Predators. From Predators, but every single protagonist otherwise has an opportunity
in the
to
lore
come
of
back.
Predators, that would make sense because that is a rebel tribe, and they would have nothing to do with, I guess, this is the main Yautja world.
And that's what I'm saying. It's weird where it's like, I felt like this was more in line with that tribe than the main. That's why I'm a little taken back. But going into Badlands this week, I will say I'm excited to see it expanded further. I do, one thing I'm so concerned about is that the newest film has a PG-13 rating.
Yeah. That
besides the story stuff, I'm concerned.
However, I don't think Trachtenberg wrote this movie with like PG-13 rating in mind.
100%.
I don't think, especially him. He's already released 2 hard R Predator movies. Like they do not hold back. Prey is a hard R. Killer of Killers is insanely over the top with its violence. It's very graphic.
Yeah.
However, I think with this new movie, it might make sense because it's a Predator coming up against aliens. That's really as simple as it is. You can do as much when it comes to ratings. It's really the red blood. That's what will create.
And I saw someone point this out as well, and I think it's very interesting. Someone was saying, take out the gore of the first movie. You still have a lot of iconic stuff that people really love. It's not just. My point is, it's not just all about the gore.
Oh no,
it was never all about that.
It's synonymous with the franchise. No doubt.
100%. There's crazy kills in it.
These are aliens that.
But I will say,
out of their victims,
once I saw that and I started thinking about it, I'm like, yes. If there's no humans in this movie, they can definitely still keep the hardcore violence. That's not going to be an issue. I feel like.
Yeah. And it's not like there's over-the-top use of curse words in Predator or anything that's vulgar or showing drug use or anything like that.
I think if they understand
that violence, you're probably not going to hit that R rating.
Yeah, and I think...
And it's not like they are cutting the violence. They're just cutting the violence against humans, which makes sense because I don't think this Predator is hunting humans in this movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think Trachtenberg probably understands that if you have these stories take place on Earth, they're going to be rated R.
Yeah, no doubt.
And with this film, I'm sure, Prey didn't come out in theaters, Killer of Killers didn't, but I think they did pretty decent for streaming.
Yeah.
But I got
Prey not coming out in theaters was a shame.
It was a shame. It should have.
That deserved it.
But I think they're still in a boat, and Trachtenberg and co probably, believe this. They don't know what the full audience is right now for Predator.
Yeah.
Disney probably is got to be a little concerned, especially after October being one of the
Well, I think they're concerned, but also them throwing
stuff.
This out in theaters shows that they definitely saw the numbers for Prey, and were like, yeah, this franchise deserves to be in theaters.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They definitely so they regretted not releasing Prey in theaters.
Yeah,
but I don't think they're still certain that
they're not sold on it yet. I think Badlands is really going to dictate the future of this franchise.
My theory is that they made it PG-13 to try and get more people to see it. But that kind of goes against, Predator. It's known for being rated R besides AVP.
So I'm saying I'm putting my trust in Trachtenberg here because I believe he would never write a Predator movie just wanting it to be PG-13, listening to a mandate. I think he's going to write a Predator movie and make it the way that he wants to do.
So yeah, let's really delve into Badlands. So Predator Badlands comes out this Friday. I'm very excited for the film. Obviously we have a bunch of concerns we just listed.
It's doing a lot. Let's be real. It's doing a lot for this franchise.
Well, one thing that's very interesting is that we're finally following a Predator being... Not finally, even. It's just very interesting that they're doing this. The Predator is going to be the actual protagonist of the film.
Yeah.
And not in the sense that, we're supposed to root for him, even. It's like...
We're following this character.
We're really following this character. And yes, you are supposed to root for the protagonist, obviously. But when I say that, it's not like, this is a character you're supposed to like and not think he's completely evil. No, this is someone we're going to not only follow, but see communicate.
Yeah,
which is a very different thing.
It's doing a lot of things that the franchise typically avoids, which is taking place in the future, taking place in the perspective of a Predator who will speak, and actually we will probably see subtitles.
We're gonna feel like we're gonna see full Yautja language, which I don't know how to feel.
I think they're bridging it back with the Alien franchise.
Oh, 100%.
It really seems like this. There's a Weyland-Yutani robot in this.
Well,
I know everyone's talking about this. But I really do think that their goal here is to once again bridge these franchises with each other.
Well, with what I was saying earlier in this video, I think it's just very evident that I think Trachtenberg and whoever's working with Alien right now, probably understands that, yes, we can plant some seeds here. And if the timeline works out, we're like saying, this is so far in the future where you can put Weyland Yutani in it. And it's not going to affect what's happening with Alien right now.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect anything in the of either timeline, where I think that's a good idea. Let's connect them subtly. And then when the time is right, we can connect it. We'll see if we really get to AVP again, but the interest is there because Trachtenberg and Fede Alvarez, who directed Alien Romulus, have expressed interest in doing a co-directed film, Alien and Predator.
Yeah, and
if they can make it work,
I think no time is better than now, because I think the interest in both of these franchises is probably at its highest it's been in quite some time.
Yeah, even though, we're in a really I'd say, negative time for, box office success in movies, but there's still some hope. I still think we still see a lot of IPs and a lot of, even somewhat original movies that do still do well.
I'm going to argue forever that Alien and Predator are two of the most fun IPs I think ever. I think both these franchises,
two of the best creature designs of all time, 100%.
That's for sure, but also just the movies. Take away the Alien versus Predator movies that we got in the past. Their mainline movies are all definitely worth the watch in both franchises, and definitely.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say Predator comes close to the greatness.
Okay, the Predators is maybe skip that one, but
no, but I'm just saying, like, obviously Alien and Aliens is just far ahead of like most of these films.
Well, I you know how much I defend that original Predator movie. I mean,
it's great, but it's nowhere near Alien. Like,
it's a classic. Yeah, obviously you got your Ridley Scott.
It's a great fun movie,
and then
but
your
it's
James
not...
Cameron Aliens. But I truly think Predator is one of my favorite action movies of the 80s, without a doubt.
I mean, I really do like it too. I just obviously, prefer those other two, like I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they take both of these two franchises. I'm excited for Badlands. I think that...
I'm very excited. A lot of people have told me that they think it looks terrible. I've been defending it since day one. I actually think
that's what I was actually about to say.
I think this is...
The creatures look cool.
Yeah.
The planet looks pretty cool. I think when the first trailer came out, I thought it looked pretty great.
Yeah.
I have been trying to avoid it, especially after hearing some of the things, that I didn't really want to hear about the film. I know more than I want to.
Yeah.
But I am still very excited.
Yeah. This Thursday, we're actually going to a fan event for the release of the movie. So you guys will hear our thoughts when we... eventually see it.
I'm very excited. I'm happy it got an IMAX release, too.
Yes, very excited to get, especially right now we're about to get the biggest slate of IMAX releases, especially in 2026. So I'm happy to see, people are definitely getting interested with these IMAX releases, too. A lot of people are going to see IMAX movies, which is awesome.
Well, my hope, before we wrap this up, I just want to say my hope is this movie does well enough and it brings, full interest back from he's an R-rated franchise, but I hope all ages really are kind of into Predator again.
Yeah.
And that will propel this to where it needs to go, especially because Romulus did pretty well.
Yeah.
Not saying Alien Earth was perceived that well, but the franchise is back in, it's known again. And I'm happy that both of these franchises are at least relevant enough IPs right now. But this movie is going to be a big showing if we're going to get more.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I am curious to know, what are your guys' favorite movie in this franchise? And do you trust where Dan Trachtenberg is taking it? And do you want to see a new Alien versus Predator movie? Because I think it's coming.
If done correctly, I think this could really work. I don't want it to be anything like those originals.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll catch you next time.